Hey y'all, it's your girl Lisa, and I am back with my boy,
Bryan Parker.
Mr.
I have two
Park.
names, Bryan and Mr. Parker. So it's Bryan, Mr. Parker.
Mr. Parker.
Yep.
My boy V, y'all. So we are back with another video about dating
We're getting
after
close.
40. Come on, Scooty.
Getting close and close. See, this chair's getting closer and closer the more we know each other.
The more
First we
more
started
get
off
to
like separate
Yeah,
from
we
each other.
did. It was like spacing
like, how
behind
you doing? Yeah, like don't
So what
touch.
do
Why
you
you touching my
think?
leg?
And we sitting up. Did you really just say why you touching my leg?
I said last time we did a video, not the last time, we come a long ways.
Did you really just say why you touching my leg? Did I touch your leg?
Yeah, with the first video, I was like, hey, be careful now, you know. You ain't trying to start a fire you can't put out.
Ooh.
Now keep going.
But yeah, we have gotten a little bit closer, and I think I mentioned before, we talk a lot and we have a lot of deep conversations about relationships, about our relationship, how we want to see this thing work, how we want to see it to the end.
Yeah.
And anyway, so we get a lot of questions because we are so open, we are so willing to share, and we are so open about just wanting to see our relationship to the end and just wanting to be in a healthy, happy relationship. And you know, we want to see that for everybody. So someone asked me not too long ago, how is it that I picked up and just entered into another relationship so easily and so quickly? Which brought me to think about this question: how soon should you start over? After the end of a relationship or divorce, or I don't know, I guess
Just
in
how
between
soon should
dating.
you start?
Yeah,
And
so
that's a legitimate question. Though,
yeah. So how soon should you start? And when she, or how soon, or how long should it be before you start over, or whatever? I don't know how to ask that question. It's a loaded question.
I mean, basically, after you, we all been in relationships before, especially this is dating over 40.
Yeah.
So it's
So
like
you've
more
been in a
so,
relationship
yeah.
at
So
some
we've
point.
been through many relationships,
Yeah.
most of which, if not all, failed.
Yeah.
And it's like if you're dealing with constant disappointments, and then you end up into this relationship where you feel like this is the one.
Yeah.
Then it makes it should make you think about what you're getting into. So once you in that last relationship, to better prepare yourself, how soon, like, how do you answer the question of how soon should you move forward into another relationship?
Yeah.
If that makes sense, you know.
Yeah.
But I think it's a legitimate question to ask, like,
Yeah.
because it's important. Because if you've had, you know, if you're older and you've had many different relationships, you do want to ask yourself at some point, like, you know, even though I feel good about the situation, am I prepared to move forward?
Yeah.
And be successful in the next relationship.
Yeah,
So I think it's a legitimate question.
Exactly. So when she asked me that question, it was very thought-provoking. And I was like, I really want to share this. I really want to share this with a lot of people, what I did, the steps that I took to move on. So when my marriage ended, I knew right then that I did not want to repeat the same cycle. And my cycle was that I would go from one relationship to the next relationship to the next relationship without even thinking. So I knew that I didn't want to do that again. So I told myself, take some time just to get to know who you are as a person, get to know what you like, get to know just who you are, be comfortable with yourself, take yourself out on dates, hang out with yourself, just get to know yourself. Take a minute and just relax. Don't just jump into another relationship. And everybody's situation is not like mine. You know, some people, they get out of relationships and they can get right back into another relationship and be just fine and healthy. But me, I was covering one situation with another situation. So I get out of a marriage, and then, you know, somebody say, oh, she cute, because, you know, that was my thing. Oh, you cute.
Though.
Oh, you cute. And I'm like, cute. And then I'm all in. I'm like, hey, you want to get married? No.
Why is that funny?
No, but seriously, so I'd be like, you know, just all in, you know, just like in this situation, you know, all in, but I wasn't healthy. I didn't take the time out to think about what I was doing, add up the costs, really invest into that person, like, you know, see what the character was of the man, because I was just going off of, you know, just the surface or potential. Because potential, what you think you see,
Yeah.
or what you think could happen
You
in the
gonna preach it
future.
now. You didn't use your hand gestures. I'm like, girl, you almost hit me in my jaw with that hand. But keep it going. You talking right.
But anyway, just potentially thinking, oh, this could be great.
Yeah.
He could be this and he could be that and he could be this or he could be that. Instead of looking at the surface, looking at what I was dealing with right then in the moment. Like, I was making those types of mistakes. So I told myself to step back, evaluate, take some time to yourself. And I told myself that I would give myself at least a year. And not to not date, but just to love on myself for at least a year. Figure out what I did wrong, because we get in relationships and we can point the finger at the other person very easily, but it's not easy to unbag what you have, your issues. So I had to just look at myself and see what I was doing and the mistakes that I was making and correct that before I got into a real relationship. Now, if we're talking spiritually, I asked the Lord to just hide me and, put me in a place where people weren't approaching me in that way, so that I could just be in a season of like loneliness and just be by myself. And I feel like God did that and kind of kept me hidden so that I wouldn't just jump into another situation. So when that man came, I would know, like, this is it. Like, I could truly, feel it. Like, I was like, because I feel like he is it. So when he came, I was just like, when he sent the message, I was like, that's different. And then every moment has been like totally different than what I've been used to. And if it turns out that he's not it, I still trust God for showing me the healthy way to do it, because we have approached our relationship in a very healthy way. So that can't be taken away from me. That's a lesson that I've learned. So I'm open to it. And so I feel like every situation is different as far as when you should start over, but make sure that you're healthy when you start over and take the steps to get healthy. Like I said, one step was me being by myself, another step was unbagging who I was, looking at my faults, and then the next step was just trusting God. Just trusting, be open, be ready, and be approachable. Some women are not approachable at all. So just be ready to just go with it, and don't be ashamed. Like, don't be ashamed, because there's nothing wrong with dating, multiple people. There's nothing wrong with that. As long as you're not, violating your values in any type of way, it's nothing wrong with that. It's nothing wrong with getting to know people. So those are the steps that I took, and I love talking about it because people ask me all the time, girl, you just easy, you just open, you just ready for whatever. And I'm like, yeah, because I did the work. I did do the work.
I got a couple questions for you.
Go ahead.
So I heard you say that you took a year off, so kind of like you dealing with the chronological time of being in one situation and getting into another one. And within that period, you talked about, I don't know if I'm insinuating or going too forward with it, but you talked about God hid you. So what does that look like? What is in like in a real world situation? How does God hide you and prepare you for the next relationship?
For me, I felt like I wasn't, nobody was approaching me. As far
So
as
he just took God took the people from being able to approach you,
to approach me
that
in
away.
that way.
Okay.
No, and people did, inbox me, but I wasn't interested. The need or the feeling to respond or the need to be, loved, or the need to be seen, or any of that, I didn't have it. I didn't have that feeling. So I didn't respond to, inbox messages, or I didn't respond to, hey, good, on the street, or I didn't respond to, will you give your cousin my number because she's cute, her, she's divorced, I didn't respond to any of that. I was just like, I wasn't interested. God took that feeling away. So I was not closed off, but just, I feel like hidden. Like, God was just hiding me so that I could just prepare myself for it.
Yeah.
Because I needed it. I needed that time. I truly did need that time.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad he gave you that time, because like we both talked about beyond our situation in front of the camera, I think it's a positive thing for me, at least, to have met you, and then for you to be available to date,
Yeah.
and at our age, it's kind of difficult to make, to find that. So
Yeah.
I think that's been one of the greatest blessings in knowing you, is that you're open to the idea of dating, and I hope that it's some reflection within it of my, you believe in them. I have true character, or
Oh
a
yeah.
person of integrity, or
Oh yeah.
just honest about the approach. So hopefully
Yeah.
it's some reflection of me in the process. But ultimately, I'm appreciative that you're allowing yourself to be open today, and so I think that's a blessing.
Yeah, yeah, because I'm not looking at our relationship in the eyes of just what it could be.
Yeah,
I'm looking at it as what it is right
yeah,
now.
yeah.
Actual situations right where we are. I'm
Mhm.
not trying to heighten it and all the good, even though I have all of
Come on
that.
now, you preaching now. You
Even though
got
I
my
have
attention.
all that, even though I do
I'll
have
just
all
play.
of that,
Thank you.
but
Yeah,
but I'm just not looking at just that. I am looking at your character, your habits,
yeah,
and just if we have anything in common. How you treat my kids,
yeah,
how you treat your kids, even though they're in a different state. It's still just by you being able to talk to your daughter every day.
yeah,
Her wanting to talk to you
yeah,
every day. That says a lot. For a young girl. To want to talk to her dad every day. So just looking at those, small things that are really the bigger picture, how you interact with my mom, because we're in our 40s, my mom is older, well, not much older, my mom isn't, but
yeah. She a young
yeah,
whippersnapper.
she
Young
is.
whippersnapper.
She's a cute thing.
Yeah,
But
young soul.
yes, but later in life something happens to her, would you be, open
Yeah,
to her being
that's the right.
around? You know what I'm saying? All of those things, So not just, the rose colored picture, as you would
Yeah,
say. Not just the pretty stuff. I'm looking at all of the stuff underneath the table that's going to help us last and
yeah,
help us to have a healthy relationship, be it we date for a while, get engaged, get married, whatever. Just things that'll help us to be healthy.
yeah,
So that's
yeah.
all. That's all I'm looking at. So what do you think? How soon should you jump into another situation after?
After you're in one relationship,
Yeah.
I guess it's a little difficult to answer it. I mean, I give my experience and give
Mhm.
my opinion.
Mhm.
I think overall we have to go with it situational again.
Mhm. Most of
Um,
the time.
yeah, in
Yeah.
most cases
That's
it
in
is
most cases. That's
situational.
what it is.
But I think that it's ultimately bears down to you being prepared. Just to me, it's not a chronological time that you have to really pay attention to. It's just you just have to feel like you aren't damaged in the last
Mm.
relationship, or
Mm.
you're never going to get away from being affected by negativity by a breakup.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it's not the effect being just negative, but you just don't want to be damaged. And if you're damaged, you want to be able to assess that
Yeah.
and recognize it
Yeah.
before you move on.
True.
I just feel like this. Like I just wouldn't want to
That's
just
deep.
find this the most perfect person in the whole wide world that God has just created, and I don't know how to make that as strong as it needs to be, and I'm the reason why I didn't succeed. You know what I'm saying? And it's like we all have relationships where we can look back and say
Mhm.
like it could have been done differently, or some things could have been
Mhm.
done differently on my part. I don't want to look back on another relationship that was meant for me, that I look at myself and think, man, I could have did something differently
Ooh.
to make that last. I'm at a place. I'm in my 40s now. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So I'm at a place where I don't want meaningless relationships.
Exactly.
I want something that's gonna last or have the potential to be something that's forever.
Mhm.
Ultimately, so it doesn't benefit me not to want to grow. So I
Mhm.
think that's where it all starts. Is that personal growth, personal introspection.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yes, back to that unbagging your own issues,
Yeah.
dealing with yourself, seeing what you did wrong, and trying to correct that
Yeah.
and trying to fix all of that. Yeah, that's deep. That's real deep.
But that's one of the things I like about our dating, and kind of like being privileged to have opportunity to kind of date you. It's like it doesn't matter what happened in our past.
Mm,
We don't sit back and just try to make it seem like we were all victims. You know what I'm saying?
No,
At
because
some
we
point,
weren't.
we were perpetrators too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And even when in our victimization,
Mm-hmm.
we're mature enough to say like maybe there's some things I could have did differently.
Yeah.
And then we're mature enough in a relationship to be comfortable with that type of conversation.
Yeah.
If it was somebody you dated in the past, or if you're in a marriage or whatever, and you say, hey, this is what happened. This is ultimately why I feel like I was violated. But then you say to yourself, like, you know, looking back, I could have did some things differently.
Yeah.
To probably produce a different result in that situation
Yeah.
because I knew triggers.
Yeah. That might make
that's
them
just-
uneasy or
Yeah,
something. Yeah.
well, I mean, but it makes you it makes you realize like I don't have to be a victim in every
Mhm.
relationship
Exactly.
just because it ended.
Yeah.
And that's the comfortable thing for most people is to find themselves in a victim position.
Yeah.
When we should
That's
look
all they wanna
outside.
share.
Yeah. And we stop there. If we look at ourselves and not look at the other person, if we look at ourselves long enough, that's where true change is gonna be.
Yeah.
And that's where it's needed the most. Not the relationship is over, and we can
Yeah.
have peace with our relationships failing.
Yeah.
To be honest, if it's just not meant to be, because sometimes you can be in a relationship with good people, but it's just not meant to be.
Yeah.
But you should never be at peace with just not learning something from that relationship, because we all
Exactly.
can learn from our failed relationships.
Exactly. Yeah. And you can't heal what you don't deal with.
Right.
So you have to deal with it in order to heal.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you can't look at, all the good things and think that, oh, well, he did this to me, and he did that to me, and he did that. Well, I'm not necessarily saying that there was a reason why he did that, but
Yeah.
there was something down the line that you did, sis,
Yeah.
that you can take ownership for.
Exactly. Exactly.
And deal with that issue within yourself and heal.
Yeah.
So you think how long? You never did say how long.
It's
though.
situational.
Just
It's not a
situational.
chronological
Not
time.
Not
It's
a time.
No.
So
if
if
you're not
you-
healed, then you have to take as much time as you can
To heal.
to heal.
Gotcha.
But you have to separate the difference between being broken versus having issues with your past relationship.
Oh.
Because we're gonna always have issues.
Oh.
You can never date me and say, "Well, I'm just totally over my relationships,
Yeah.
so you good with me."
Yeah.
Like, that's a problem already. That's a red flag.
Yeah.
Because you're a human being. You're gonna sit in
it's
the
some
middle of
things
the night.
You're not gonna get over.
You're gonna sit in the bed in the middle of the night doing pillow talk or whenever you have free time, and
Yeah.
you're gonna reflect over
On
good
yeah.
experiences you've had in the past, and you're gonna reflect over bad experiences you've had
Exactly.
with perpetrators.
Exactly.
So it's like you have to be honest with yourself, and you have
Honest.
to be allowed to be a human being.
Yeah.
You have to be allowed a safe space where you can talk about past relationships as if like hey, I remember having this. We went out this one place. It was a good time.
Yeah.
It wasn't always bad. And
Yeah.
you also should be able to say like, some things about that past relationship I haven't figured out.
Yeah.
I haven't made sense of, and it
Yeah.
affected me negatively.
Yeah.
But you need that safe space so you can be honest. Not just with yourself, but just having somebody as a friend that you can just talk to and
Yeah.
not have to cover and filter every word that come out your mouth.
Exactly.
Because it portrays, like if you don't talk negatively about your situation, it portrays or give the impression that you still have some type of emotional
Feelings.
attachment
Yep.
that's unhealthy.
Yep.
No, I mean, you're a human being. At the end of the day, just talk.
Exactly.
Whether it's good or bad, it doesn't matter. The experience is the experience. And not every situation, like I said, even if it ended in a bad situation, was all bad. You're going to have some situations within that relationship that failed where you're going to say, man, that day it was a good day.
Yeah.
Or what he did for my kids, I honor
that
that
was
guy.
yeah.
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? I
yeah,
honor
because
I honor certain attributes that he brought to the table.
Exactly.
Yet I feel like overall there were some key areas where dysfunction lied.
Yeah.
And it conflicted and it went against my core values as a human being. So I know it had to end. But ultimately, I respect places where he's succeeded, and I have issues with places where he failed. But if it's some issues that I have to deal with within myself, then I'll open up space.
Yeah.
I'll allow space to heal from those issues before I go into another relationship, because you're gonna see certain, just by nature, it may not even be the person you date. You're gonna see certain things come out of that
Yeah.
next relationship that started in your previous relationships, and that person may not even have any idea what you see, because sometimes perception is reality. If you perceive him to be a certain way, it doesn't mean that he's actually being that way, but your perception is based on your experiences from your past relationships.
Exactly. So You answered the question, Mr. Parker. It's situational.
Yeah.
It's however you see it. Some people are in relationships and they're alone within that relationship for a long time
Yeah.
before they even decide to end it.
Yeah.
So I find it kind of funny how us as humans, how we judge, when a person should start over, or when a person should start dating, or they just got divorced. They just got divorced 2 months ago and he already dating somebody. Well, he may have felt alone in that relationship for 3 years before he decided to end it, because a lot of times you're miserable long before the end. You're out of the relationship long before the relationship ends.
Yeah.
So sometimes, right afterwards is good. It works out. And I remember we were having a conversation one time, and you were like, why should I be worried about, when I start over? I wasn't the one that was hurt.
Yeah, that's my whole point.
I wasn't the one that was hurt in the situation. I didn't do anything wrong. So what's wrong with me, dating the next person right after that situation was over? And I was like, you know what? You got a point. Because that's all I've heard. I guess because I've been that relationship hopper. Going from one relationship to the next, everybody's like, slow down, slow down, slow down. And especially in this situation, everybody is like, in shock. Everybody's like in shock. But I'm trusting God, and I'm really good with it this time around.
Well, I'll tell you this much: you couldn't pay me. See, this is what I don't believe in, and I may go off the cliff on this. I'm really in touch with myself, and I know by being in touch that I'm not a perfect person, but I'm a good guy. I'm a good person. I'm a decent person. To know me is to know that.
Yeah, you are.
And not every relationship I've gone in, I've been prepared to stay or prepared to do the right thing.
Yeah.
And I probably recognized that prior to going in, but I know where I am at this point, and I know where I've been in other relationships, right? So if I go in a relationship with a true heart and intent to do the right thing, and I do all that I know to do, and not to say that everything that was done on my end was perfect, but I've done enough to know that I'm at peace with my approach and what I've done to try to salvage that situation or make it work.
Yeah.
If the next person doesn't have an attachment or see something in me that they want to grab onto, and then ultimately the relationship falls apart because it takes two. It just can't be on me to make it happen.
That's right.
If that relationship failed and I know I've done all that I could do, at the end of the day, I can move on the next day. I can move on the next day and continue dating at peace because I know I've done all I can do to make that relationship successful.
That's good.
The only time I should not be able to move on is if I can look back and say, man, that was a good person in my life. That was a good lady. That was somebody that did certain things that I feel like were human. Like, not perfect, but just human enough to be able to say, I can't expect that person to just be so perfect, but yet I can't hold them to standards they can't live up to.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if I look back on that situation and I realize I sabotaged the relationship, then that means it's something I need to fix within myself. In that other scenario, if you do everything right, and not to say perfectly, but if you've done enough right, like you are at peace with the situation. Yeah. Don't let nobody tell you to stop and take time and do all this stuff. I mean, if you are at peace, and if somebody came in and broke you and made you hurt and brought all this out, at the end of the day, you don't have to sit back and just wallow in that. You don't have to heal from that. What can you learn from that? I feel like this. I expect you to be human. And in our relationship, you've been human. And you've expressed certain feelings about certain people that maybe if I've been taught differently, I would think that was something to run from. Yeah. But at the end of the day, you have a safe space with me. You can talk about whatever it is you want to talk about, because I know ultimately if you do the right thing and you are affected by somebody else that did the wrong thing, why should that scare me away? Because you were a good person approaching a relationship, but the people you selected ultimately did something, or that last person you selected did something that was dysfunctional. So why, by you being affected by that, should run me away? That should show me that you had a heart for that particular person. And if anything, you should have to assess, how is it that I don't want to repeat attracting the same type of people.
That's true.
If anything. And that may take a little time to say, you know what, maybe there are certain personalities and characteristics in people that I'm attracted to. And I keep attracting these types of dysfunctions. And also good qualities.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's the only thing you have to really figure out. But you don't have to spend a lot of time healing from something you have no clue what you're healing from. I'm not gonna waste time. I'll just leave it like that. That's just my part of
Yeah,
it.
yeah. What's that? I can start over tomorrow.
I mean, because your blessing might come tomorrow. You know what a blessing is? Your blessing might come tomorrow, and somebody taught you to take all this time off. What are you gonna learn? Outside of the fact that you want to make sure you don't do, now you may want to take some time to make sure you're not attracting the same type of men that's dysfunctional.
Exactly.
But outside of that, what are you gonna learn if you went in and you were the best person you can be, in the most humanist way possible, but yet. And it's sometimes you don't attract dogs. Sometimes it's more just dogs out there than anything. You might 10 dogs to one good dude.
Yeah.
Not to say, not to be putting down men or whatever. But I'm just saying.
I get what you're saying. It's situational. So yeah, you don't want to miss out on your blessing just because somebody told you, oh, you need to take your time. You need some weight. Look, if you good, if you healed, if you walked away from that relationship whole and healthy, what you waiting on?
Exactly.
Let them in. They knocking. Let them in. I was just like this when you came.
Well, girl, you better put them arms down. Bible say guard your heart. You let no exposing the heart.
Just open. Oh, my shirt. I don't know.
Shimmy.
Yes.
Shimmy.
My little shimmy.
But I'm gonna say this while you shimmying.
Shimmy. What?
Why you got me looking at your chest? I'm looking at her like shimmy, 3 shimmies. But look, this is what I'm gonna say. To me, like, shimmy, To me, like, while we got our arms hanging way up high, and we are like, we enjoy each other's company.
Yeah,
it ain't
we
just
have
you, it
fun.
ain't just me, it's us. I can tell our chemistry is on point.
Yeah.
But it ventures off into love. It ventures off into serious attachment, and love is a dangerous place to be. Because nobody can hurt you like somebody that loves you. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and so.
And a lot of times we take advantage of the people that we love the most too.
Yeah.
We take advantage of their love and their attention and their time. And So,
yeah.
I'm sorry, I cut you off.
No, you can cut me off. But just I think it's just like that's one thing to note is like the Bible do say guard your heart. I think that's something that should be taken seriously.
Yeah.
Even when two people are have chemistry and follow biblical principles that can lead you in a successful path. Like we're human.
Yeah, we are.
Like as we grow, I have to really look at myself to make sure that it's little things that I'm not doing, not intentionally, just in general. That could be misconstrued to and it may affect you or whatever. And it's like I have to be very tender with our situation because as we hang out, we're gonna grow to like each other in deeper and deeper elements. And so that's something that we both have to be conscious of and take very serious because ultimately we're too old to be dating like we're young people.
Exactly.
Like we were just all about our emotions and feelings. We have to bring our intellect and our cognitive reasoning into the whole process to make sure that we are protecting each other and not just protecting each other, but just protecting ourselves from pain and hurt.
But we do have to be careful and, be careful and
you
be
look
wise.
cold.
I am cold. That's why I'm
trying to show your shimmy. You so busy trying to be shimmy, you might as well go and keep it real.
I was trying to show my shimmy shirt. You so sweet, bro.
I snuck in a little coaster.
Yeah, I was trying to show my shimmy shirt. But yeah, you do have to be careful. And like you said, you do have to guard your heart. And you want to make sure that you're being responsible. You want to make sure that you're taking all precautions, to make sure that you are, being healthy. You have healthy responses to situations, all of that stuff. Like you don't want to just, I'm throwing my hands up in the air and acting like I'm just all in, but you do want to, be adult about it.
And you have been.
And, and be sensible and just know that it's day by day, moment by moment and live in the moment. Don't expect too much, just see things for what they are. Don't, look at what could be, and just be happy, like have fun. Just be happy
Yeah.
and have fun. That's what I try to do every day. Is just be happy and have fun. This
Yeah.
guy's hilarious, and I'm just enjoying spending time with him. You are. You are.
One thing I like about our situation is in terms of maturity wise. Although I mentioned before, it didn't develop overnight. Um, how it has developed with our families being integrated, and I know
Oh yeah.
and that's a big important part of relationships as well as dating over 40 because you gonna have grandkids in a minute.
Yeah. Oh, don't talk about me.
I'm just saying.
You gonna have some too.
So
Our oldest are the same age.
man, but
both
how
both dating, so we could be
very much
grandparents.
so. Yeah, I don't know about that. The devil is a lie. I know a whole bunch of scriptures on that one. You want me to quote them? Because I'm gonna start.
Cool one.
Yeah.
Just one. Give us one.
Look,
Give us
let
one.
me make my point. But look, seriously though. But I like how we've integrated our families because it's long distance. In a lot of aspects, what we were doing is kind of just a lot of separation and long distance involved.
Yeah.
And we found the functional part of like how to make it work for us. But even though like with your kids, your mom, and like the healthy parts of how all this is coming together, and my daughter, even though she's in California, my daughters, all of them, and not but they've been responsive of you, and and supportive
Yeah.
and all that stuff, and it's like it, I'm appreciative of that because nowadays that's a major part of being 40 and over and dating is nuclear families and just certain situations that involve families coming together,
Yeah.
and it's hard to be accepted from some families, you know
Yeah.
what I mean, and I know I have a lot of growing to do and I have a lot of people to meet, but thus far it's been such a healthy relationship, just not with you, but also just how our families are coming together.
Yeah, that's amazing. I'm
Yeah.
glad you like them because they
Yeah.
like you.
Yeah,
They- you know,
yeah.
from the rip, they were just like, "Oh, you cool."
Yeah, I gained
You
a mom and
cool."
all of it, and you lost a mom because you
I'm trying to hate on her
iffy cowboy
Cowboys.
fan. I'm all,
They ain't none of the Cowboys. I love
yeah,
the
you're an
Cowboys.
iffy cowboy fan.
I'm
You
not.
gonna lose your mother.
I'm not an iffy Cowboy fan. I just know it's gonna be hard to win against the Patriots. But
All right, we're gonna
we'll, yeah. By the time this video comes out, we'll know who
probably
won.
the Super Bowl. The Cowboys won. Well, no, I don't know. I don't know what division they're in.
and we will see. But you guys, we would like to ask the question. Okay, how long do you think?
How long do you think it should take before
It should take before you go into
before you
I
go
don't know
into
how
the
to
next
pose this.
relationship?
Okay, so you asked then, since you know how to pose the question.
Seriously, all right, how long do you think it should take before you go into the next relationship?
Boom.
And that's a serious relationship because it's like that's a serious question.
It is.
And nobody has the one answer to it, I'm assuming, but I think everybody has different experiences with dating.
Yeah.
And how dating affects them. So I think it'll be helpful like if we share opinions. And
Yeah.
we kind of so if there's anything you want to add or whatever, I definitely read them. I don't know about planner and prayer lady over here.
Planning and praying over here. Yeah, I suck at reading my comments.
No, you don't.
y'all.
You read them all the time.
I don't.
All
Not
right.
all of them.
Yes, you do.
I try to read most of them, and I try to respond, but I'm terrible at it.
All right.
I'm
well,
terrible at it.
I believe you.
But you guys, leave a comment down below and let us know what you think. Let us know how long should you wait before jumping into the next relationship. What do y'all think about it? Should you wait a while? Should you jump right into the next relationship? Do you feel like you should heal first? What do y'all think? And we'll read them and we'll talk about it at the beginning of the next video. All right?
Or if y'all have any questions also, or anything you want to share,
Okay.
or we're not relationship experts, so don't.
Not at all.
We just two people with opinions. But if it's something, because most of what we were talking about kind of stems from other people's comments, and so if it's something you want us to give y'all our opinion on, we'll do that as long as we keep the lines clear that these are just our opinions.
Yeah,
and
it's
so
just
it's
our
not
opinion.
we're not certified relationship experts.
Not at all. But
Just
we
two
are
people
we
trying
are
to make it.
certified life, okay?
Amen.
Now we are certified life because
Yeah.
between the both of us, we've been through it all. You name it, I think we cover it.
Yeah. Well, I hope you're not gonna be abusive towards me. I'm praying.
I almost hit you when you
Man,
my prayer blanket.
man, you almost hit me in the jaw too earlier.
I wasn't trying to either. I was trying to like tap your shoulder. I was like,
That's how it all started. Yep, that's how I'm like, oh, I didn't mean to hit you.
and then I kind of slipped up to
Like,
right
ah.
here. I was like,
ah.
I was like, oh babe, I didn't mean to hit you.
Yeah, that's how it all started. And look, the sun going down, so you don't have no light now here.
So you like stop touching me.
Let not the sun go
And
down
you-
on my wrath. You gotta quote the script. We gotta quote the scriptures when it's time. Dog.
Let not the sun what
Go
go
down
down
on my wrath. And you was hitting me in my jaw just a few minutes ago.
But
You
I
was-
just rubbed it to like make it better because I wasn't trying to hit
Hey, you know that's
in.
kind of soothing. Can you keep doing that?
All right, y'all, we're gonna go.
All right, it's not a hit anymore. It's love taps.
It's-
I'm about to fall asleep for real. Now.
Don't do that. Don't do that. All right, you guys. So
I'm back. What was the question? All right, I haven't answered. You know, I'll talk about anything.
all right, you guys. So until next time, y'all be sweet. We love y'all. Peace.